We're on. Welcome to COM-225 at Paradise Valley Community College. I'm glad you're with me. This is online. I am your captain of communication, your doctor of diatribe, Frank Switzer. I'm just an instructor. I don't have a PhD, so don't call me professor. You can call me Frank, you can call me Mr. Switzer, you can call me instructor, but I'm not a professor. I'm no PhD. I do have 2 masters though. I'll tell you about those in a minute. But glad you're with us. The class is full. It's at capacity. In fact, it's slightly above capacity, which is fine. Glad you're all joining us for this online course. Right out of the gate, I want to mention this. It's in the syllabus, but I just want to make sure you're aware of this right out of the gate. This class is only 8 weeks long, and we're jamming 16 weeks worth of material into 8 weeks. So right away, you need to understand, you have to stay on top of your assignment due dates. You have to be good planners in this class. You need to get things in on time, otherwise I can't accept them. You need to be submitting to Canvas on time, and we'll talk a lot about that during this first of 4 videos that I am making for you to see. There's a 5th video that you need to watch, which is actually attached to this assignment for the first video acknowledgement assignment. You're going to watch a second video that's 19 minutes long by Andrew Stanton, who's kind of the backbone of the screenwriting team at Pixar, and it's a wonderful TED Talk on storytelling. I do want to say this about the Andrew Stanton TED Talk. It's a magnificent TED Talk. He opens with a joke. The joke is set up, the punchline is set up as an enthymeme, which Aristotle teaches about in his great work, Rhetoric, from 2,600 years ago. We'll talk more about that later. But the enthymeme is really good, and I think it's really funny, but it contains a really bad word. And so I hope you're not offended. The joke doesn't work if you don't contain the bad word. I just need to give you a little disclaimer. You still need to watch the video. Maybe you could just fast forward through the first minute if you're worried about bad words. Anyway, that's my disclaimer about that Andrew Stanton video, which again is a wonderful video. And one of your questions on this video acknowledgement assignment is going to be about that video. So you need to watch the whole video in order to be able to answer that question. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Phoenix, but I have lived in Texas twice, and I've lived in Chicago once for 5 years, loved it in Chicago, turned me into a Chicago Blackhawks hockey fan. I grew up in Phoenix, but I grew up playing hockey and ice skating, which was weird in Phoenix that many years ago because there were only 2 ice rinks here until Metro Center opened when I was 15 years old, and then there was a 3rd ice rink there. But yeah, I grew up playing hockey. I love hockey, love the Chicago Blackhawks, was very upset when the Arizona Coyotes moved to Utah, but that's a story for a whole nother day. So grew up here, went to college for 3 semesters right out of high school, realized that I wasn't ready at that point for college. So I went to work in the business, area of business and in the marketplace, and did really well. The company I was with in Phoenix promoted me and moved me to Texas. Then they promoted me again, moved me to Chicago, promoted me again, and moved me to Houston. And the reason I said Texas the first time is because I don't know if everybody's heard of Abilene. It's a very small western Texas town. That's the first place I went. I think everybody's heard of Houston. Anyway, I lasted for a year in Houston, didn't like living there, so I decided to come back to Phoenix, stayed in the marketplace for another 10 or 11 years, and then the company that I was leading got sold, and so I went back to school. I was ready for higher education at that time, went and got my bachelor's degree at Grand Canyon University. This is back when Grand Canyon University only had 1,500 students. It was a small liberal arts college. And got my bachelor's degree in religious studies, and then I went on and got a master's degree in theology from Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena, California. And then I went to Arizona State University, home of the Sun Devils, and I worked on my master's in human communication theory, which is what qualifies me to teach this class. I am an adjunct instructor. I am not full-time. with Paradise Valley Community College, but I have been teaching as an adjunct instructor every semester except during the summers. I do a lot of public speaking away from Phoenix during the summers. But I've been teaching every fall and spring semester at PVCC for the last 26 years. I'm in my 26th year right now. So I've been around PVCC a long time. I love the school. I love teaching communication theory and public speaking here. I am married. I have 2 grown daughters. They're both married. And I have 3 grandkids too. I think that's about it. I do have a full-time job. I also have, I'm also an adjunct instructor at Grand Canyon University. I teach in their College of Theology. I teach communication classes for theology students in the College of Theology at Grand Canyon University. And so I also do that. So anyway, if you have any more questions about any of that, I'd be happy to answer if you message me in Canvas or email me, whatever. This is the welcome video. It's video number 1. The purpose is to introduce you to the class, get you familiar with a few of the principles and concepts, and certainly get you familiar with the syllabus. So you need to make sure that you understand the syllabus. So we're going to spend some time going through that as well. But I do want to say that public speaking, I know, is scary for a lot of people. Having said that, it's also kind of strange to me, even though I teach it online. By the way, I also teach 2 in-person classes at Paradise Valley Community College. I teach COM-100 and I teach COM-207 and other COM-225 classes on campus. This semester I have 3 classes, but it is kind of weird, I would think, and I think you would know that it's kind of weird to have a public speaking class online. The point of a public speaking class, I think, is to learn how to speak in front of an audience of people, but you're going to be speaking to a camera on this class. Those are actually 2 different skill sets. They're similar, and there's a lot of crossover, but they're actually 2 different skill sets. Speaking to a camera is not as easy as a lot of people think it is. Speaking to large groups of people is also not as easy as people might think it is, although most people are afraid of it. In fact, research has continually shown over the last 3 or 4 decades that the number 1 fear of people in the United States, the number 1 fear of people in the United States is not death, it is public speaking. Death is the 2nd most feared thing for people in the United States for the last 40 years. They would rather not public speak. It's what prompted the comedian Jerry Seinfeld in one of his stand-up routines to say, that means that the person who is at a funeral delivering the eulogy would rather be the person in the casket. And that's essentially true. I found that. And one of the things we'll get to in one of the later videos that you have to watch that I do is to talk about speaker anxiety or nervousness or speaker apprehension, whatever you want to call it, and how to kind of combat all of that. So Jerry Seinfeld, who's a wonderful public speaker, of course, he also acknowledges that we get a little nervous when we stand in front of people. On the other hand, I love what Robert Lane Greene, who is a wonderful author when it comes to rhetoric, he wrote a magnificent book a number of years ago called You Are What You Speak. And it's a book about rhetoric. It's a book about words and word origins. It's a book about communication, sending, receiving, encoding, decoding. It's a marvelous book. I've read it 3 or 4 times. One of my favorite things that he says in that book is, speech is jazz. Speech is jazz. Now, that's a metaphor. It's not a simile. If it were a simile, he would say speech is like jazz. But it's a metaphor, so he's making a direct comparison. Speech is jazz, and then he goes on to explain that just like jazz, to be a good public speaker, you first learn the basics, and then eventually you get good enough to improvise. You get good enough to speak in an impromptu way. And I have found that to be true. I learned the basics decades ago on good public speaking, and over the course of time, over the years, I have learned how to be able to improvise. I still speak from notes probably half the time that I do public speaking gigs, but I can also speak impromptu. You can hand me a topic with only 2 or 3 minutes preparation, and I'm off to the races. I can do that just as well. So speech is jazz. First you learn the basics, and then you're able to improvise. There are two main benefits at becoming competent in public speaking. And these benefits permeate your entire life. Number one, it improves your social and personal abilities with other people. It improves who you are when you are a good public speaker, when you learn how to communicate in an organized and concise way. That's number one. And number two, it improves both your academic and your professional possibilities. Good public speakers rise higher in academia, are more successful in academia, whether they're studying or whether they're working in higher education, and good public speakers tend to do much better in the marketplace. Even though we live in a highly digitized culture and world right now, the better you are at public speaking, the better you're going to do in the marketplace, the better you're going to do in ascending jobs and various corporate ladders. So those are two main benefits. One of the things that you are going to have to do, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in detail today, and then a lot more detail. There's an entire video about this. But one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to give 4 speeches that you have to video record and then submit to me in a particular way, making sure that I'm able to watch and listen to your speeches in an effective way. Every one of those 4 speeches has to be done according to what's known as the 6-step guide for effective public speaking. Now, that 6-step guide for effective public speaking is going to be found in your textbook. And your textbook, the pages are 15 to 32, where it talks about the 6-step guide. You cannot pass this class if you're not going to do your speeches and your speech rough drafts according to the 6-step guide. You must do that, otherwise you can't pass the class. This is the rubric for the whole class, the 6-step guide, pages 15 through 32. Make sure that you get on that. So with that being said, it would probably be helpful if you had your computer open to like the welcome page, and then we'll look at the syllabus. I want to review the welcome page with you because there are 5 things that you need to know about as we get started. And one of them has to do with that textbook I just mentioned. So here's number 1, has to do with the textbook. You need to get the textbook. Yes, you have to buy the textbook. I've been teaching at the college level for more than 26 years. PVCC was not my first college teaching gig. And I will tell you, the most common question I get at the beginning of the semester from college students is, do I really need the textbook? I'm going to answer that for you before you even ask. Yes, you really need the textbook. You will not be able to do the assignments without the textbook. Now, wonderfully, the 2 authors of the textbook, Marilyn Cristiano and Felisa Ramirez, have worked it out so that your textbook is very affordable as far as textbooks goes. It's in the $40 to $60 range, probably leaning more towards that lower end. So make sure you get the textbook. If you don't have it right now, you should probably stop this video and make sure that you have bought the textbook. It's supposed to be available in the Paradise Valley Community College bookstore. They should have them available, so make sure that you get that textbook. It is absolutely necessary. It's called The Speaker's Manual, A Guide to High Impact Speaking, 2nd edition. The ISBN number is on your welcome page. So that's the first thing. And by the way, I love the textbook. I use the textbook in other classes that I teach in different colleges where I teach. I use the 6-step guide everywhere I go. The textbook is thick, but it's written in a manual style, so it reads very quickly. It's also written in a style that's accessible. You should have no trouble reading this textbook whatsoever. It is practical and thorough and very, very good. Second of all, make sure you read through the syllabus carefully. I'm going to go through the syllabus with you in just a minute, but you need to read through it another couple of times very carefully, making sure you don't miss anything. Again, I didn't know is not an excuse for not doing something that is clearly articulated in the syllabus. You have a syllabus now, you're on Canvas, obviously, because you're watching this video. So I didn't know is not an excuse. I didn't know this was due. I didn't know we were supposed to do that. Not an excuse. All of those things are in the syllabus. You need to be familiar with the syllabus, and the syllabus has a detailed schedule of when everything is due, as well as the assignments section of the Canvas class, of course, is also detailed about when everything is due as well. Third, you need to start watching these lecture videos, which you have started doing if you're watching this one. There are 5 videos that you need to watch. 4 of them are me lecturing you. The other one is that Andrew Stanton video, which is attached to this particular assignment, the first video acknowledgement assignment. Fourth, you are going to be video recording your speeches, and then you have to make them available to me by the due date so that I can grade them. And you can do this in one of 2 ways. I think the best way is when students already have, or they create for this class online, their own YouTube channel and then post the link of the recording to their YouTube channel and send me the link in Canvas. That's usually the best way that this works out. Not everybody wants to do that. I understand that. There's other ways of coming up. There are other ways of coming up with a link to a video that you have done. You need to send me a link that I am able to download and watch. You need to make sure that that happens. And here's the other thing about video recording your speeches. When you upload them, you need to realize that it's going to take a few hours to upload your speeches in most cases. This is a mistake that a lot of students make, is of course you wait till the very last minute for when something is due. Oh, the speech is due at 11 o'clock at night on September 17th, and you start recording the speech at 10 o'clock, and then you finally think you get it right, and at 10:40 you start uploading the video and you realize you're not going to be able to upload it by the due date. That's not on me, that's on you. The video takes a while to upload. You need to make sure that you're planning out ahead enough time to record the speech and then upload it, whatever mechanism that it is that you're going to use. So make sure that you do that as well. Then fifth, you should take some time right away to peruse the schedule of the due dates. You need to stay on top of things, and we're going to do that today anyway in this video. We'll get you started with that. So turn now to your course syllabus on your laptop or on your phone or whatever it is, so you can kind of follow along. At the very beginning, you can see that I'm the instructor, my credentials. I don't have an office. If you want to meet with me in person, you're going to have to message me, and we're going to have to figure out a way to do that. I am on campus a couple of days a week during this semester, so we might be able to, that would probably be the best place to be able to meet, but some people, they want to meet different places. That's fine. We can maybe try to figure that out, but we can also speak digitally. We can speak through a Zoom or a Teams call if that's better for you. I don't have office hours either because I don't have an office. So, course description and overview. It is designed to enhance the students, that would be you, your ability to present public speeches confidently and competently. It's also designed to improve information literacy and critical thinking skills. And you had to have taken English 101 or 107 as prerequisites to be in this class, which you probably already know. Often in both the public and private sectors, you're going to be called upon to inform, influence, inspire, or entertain an audience, and this course is designed to help you acquire some of the skills to be able to do that. There are the dates, August 25th through October 17th, 2025, and I will tell you, I'm not going to read every word of this syllabus. I will summarize some of it. It'll be up to you to read all of it. There's your required textbook. We already talked about that. You need access to the internet. If you want to know about the research guide at PVCC, there's a link there that will help you as well. Also, if you want to know more about Title IX and all the updates that we've had just recently, just in the last few months to Title IX, you can click that link as well. Next are the Maricopa County Community College District official course competencies for COM-225, and they're bullet listed right there. In theory, you will be better at every one of those, either marginally or significantly better at every one of those bullet points as a result of taking this class. You can read that later. This, of course, is probably where you're going to tune in a little bit more significantly, because we're going to talk just a minute about the assignments. This is an overview of the assignments. I have an entire separate video going much deeper on the assignments, okay? And if you have questions about the assignments, you should message me. But first of all, you're going to do 4 speeches, 4 different speeches submitted through Canvas as video recordings. You're going to do an autobiographical speech. That should be an easy speech for you to do because it's about your favorite subject, you. And you're going to have a particular way that you have to outline that speech. You need to talk about your personal life, your educational life, and your professional life, whatever that might be. I know your professional life at this point might be mowing lawns or being a barista. I get it. But you can talk about your professional aspirations. What do you want to do with your life? In fact, there will be some questions along those lines in, I believe, one of these video acknowledgement assignments. But you're going to give an autobiographical speech, 4 to 6 minutes. You're going to give an informative speech, 5 to 7 minutes. The informative speech, that should be something that you should do, I would recommend. And it's the same thing that Andrew Stanton says in his video. One of the things he says that I think is really good advice is you really should pick something to do your informative speech on. Pick a topic on something that you already know something about. Pick a topic that you're already passionate about something. Maybe you're coming from the equine and agricultural school that's next door. You're a high school student that's taking this class. We've had a lot of those high school students over here. I know, I call it the horsey school. I don't mean that derogatorily, but you know, they ride horses over there. I can't tell you how many informative speeches I've had about horses and barrel racing and target shooting off of horses and saddles and all kinds of things. You know, whatever you're passionate about, whatever you already know something about, you have to research it. You have to give us some sources cited, but it's a really good counsel to do something that you already know a little bit about or a lot about and that you're passionate about. So, informative speech. Third speech, the most challenging speech, in my opinion, in this semester is the persuasive speech. 6 to 8 minutes long. The persuasive speech has to be on an issue of policy. It's got to be a substantive speech on an issue of policy. Immigration, stem cell research, reparations, something that's policy driven. Here's another question I get from a lot of students on their persuasive speech. Can I persuade my audience that LeBron James is the greatest basketball player in history? The answer is no on 2 really important counts. Number 1, that is not an issue of policy. Nobody has a policy about who the greatest player in the history of the National Basketball Association is. It's not a policy issue. You can talk about free agency in the NBA, a policy-driven speech about that. You can talk about the draft or something like that, driven by policy, but you can't do a persuasive speech on, you know, Magic Johnson's the best point guard in the history of the NBA. Here's the second reason you can't do a persuasive speech on why LeBron James is the best player in the history of the NBA. The second reason is that he's not. That's the end of the story. That's the end of the argument. That's the end of the debate. He's not the greatest player in the history of the NBA. It is Michael Jordan. End of discussion. Let's move on. Your fourth speech is a tribute speech. I love this speech. Your tribute speech is you're going to take somebody that you admire or respect, somebody in history, somebody who's dead, somebody who's still alive, somebody that you admire in some way, shape, or form, somebody you personally know, and you're going to give a tribute speech to that person. That speech is also 5 to 7 minutes long. It's a lot of fun. In my in-person classes for 225, I will give a sample tribute speech, and I do mine on the director Michael Mann. I think he's a great director. I've been very inspired by his career. He's made some of my favorite movies in history, and so there's an example of somebody that I've been inspired by. I could also do an inspiration speech on the rock group Heart. So maybe it's Led Zeppelin for you, or Blink 182, I guess, is whatever it is. But maybe it's a political figure. Maybe it's your grandmother. I don't know. But you can give a tribute. Your fourth speech will be a tribute speech. And then notice there it says each speech must follow the 6-step guide for effective public speaking. This is a non-negotiable. You will learn about the 6-step guide through the Cristiano Ramirez textbook and the class videos that you will watch. I might, if I have time at the end of this, I might actually give you a little preview of that after we're done with this. Next assignment, there is a syllabus acknowledgement assignment that is due right away. If you're watching this video at the last minute, I think you're probably too late to turn that in, which is a problem because it's very clear that you need to turn that in order to stay in the class. So that was due yesterday. Well, the due date for this video is August 27th. The syllabus acknowledgement assignment was due yesterday, August 26th. Video acknowledgements, 4 video acknowledgement assignments with question and answer, each worth 25 points. The details are on Canvas. You'll have 2 quizzes that you'll take online and send them to me. Very easy in terms of how to take them and get them to me, each worth 40 points. Details again on Canvas for completion and submission. And you'll write, I believe I skipped something. Yeah, there I did. I'm sorry. I skipped the 4 speech rough drafts. This is really important too. Each is worth 25 points, but these are critical to this class. You have to write a rough draft, word process a rough draft. Hello, word process. Don't write it longhand, take pictures and send it to me. I will reject the assignment. You have to word process this assignment, and you have to find the rough draft outline in the textbook. There's no way you can do the rough draft outline without having the textbook. So therefore, you need the textbook once again, okay? So you do your rough draft according to the outline in the textbook, and you need to turn those in well prior, there's a different due date, prior to you recording your speech, so that I can give you feedback on your rough drafts and you can incorporate that feedback. So again, you need the textbook for that. Each of those is worth 25 points. It's 100 of the 600 points in this class, so it's a significant part of this class. Anyway, then down again below the quizzes, your self-evaluation paper. Your self-evaluation paper will be written about your informative speech. It will be written reflectively. You won't need any works cited for it. You'll have 6 paragraphs in that reflection paper. Should be no more than 2 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, double spaced. I know you're going to turn it in through Canvas. I can copy and paste it into a Word document so I know how much you wrote. But essentially, you're going to write a paragraph of introduction. You're going to write a paragraph about what you think you did really well in your informative speech. You're going to write a paragraph about what you think didn't go as well as you had hoped in your informative speech. You're going to write a paragraph about what you would do differently or how you would improve your informative speech. And then you're going to write a paragraph about what you have learned so far after these first 2 speeches, the autobiographical and the informative. What have you learned about yourself as a public speaker? And then you have a paragraph of summary. So 6 paragraphs in all on that paper. That's worth 30 points. So then you see 600 points for the class. The grades are on a straight 90%, 80%, 70%, 60% breakdown for your grade. Video recording. Speeches must be video recorded using a personal video recording device. You're going to have to figure all that out. By the way, frankly, I'll be surprised if this idea of video recording yourself is brand new, because most of you are probably on TikTok, putting stuff on TikTok. You already know how to video record yourself. You're just going to have to do it in a little bit more professional way and for longer now. So you can read all about that. Like I mentioned, make sure that you deliver them to me in something that I can download and open and watch and listen to. and make sure that you set aside plenty of time for uploading your videos. Expectations of work beyond class time, probably 6 to 8 hours a week, depending on skill level. But also, remember, it would be 3 to 4 hours a week if this were a 16-week class. So we're doubling up on that. Expectations. You are in this class to receive college credit. I understand that. I am here to help you to create your assignments and to lead you through that as best I can digitally. It's always a little bit easier in person. It's also more inconvenient to take the class in person. I recognize that. But I understand how important it is that I'm helpful. So as the instructor, I promise that I will maintain a positive yet critical attitude toward you and your work. I will demonstrate enthusiasm toward the curriculum and the students. And by the way, it's not that hard for me to get enthusiastic about the discipline of communication and public speaking. I love it. The greatest fear that people have in the world is, in the United States, is the fear of public speaking. My personal greatest fear is that they won't let me speak in public. So that'll give you an idea. I love public speaking. I think it's fun. It's my area of creativity. And then finally, I will answer emails and inquiries in a timely manner, usually within 24 hours. And within 5 days, I will answer your assignments and give you feedback and grade your assignments within 5 days. And that's very liberal, actually, to be honest with you. I usually grade them a little bit quicker than that. By the way, let me make sure that you understand this too. If you have a question about an assignment, do not wait until the night the assignment is due. I go to bed very early in the evening, and I get up very early in the morning. I won't see your email. And besides, what good is it going to do for you for me to answer you at 10 o'clock at night when the assignment's due at 11 o'clock? You need to be planning ahead, and you need to ask significant questions about the assignments at least 72 hours in advance. You need time for me to be able to see the question, to answer it, and for you to incorporate the answer in any way that you feel is necessary in your assignment. So please make sure you do these things in a timely manner. There's our policy and statements section. Attendance is mandatory, and the way we take attendance on an online class is you turning in your assignments on time. Okay? Now, my favorite story about this, by the way, I was a college student once before. I've been doing this for 28 years, teaching college students. There is no original, unique, clever excuse for not turning in assignments on time. It doesn't exist. I've heard them all. You're not that clever. You're not that unique. You're not that creative. But my favorite one is this. During COVID, I had a student on an 8-week class. It was an online class. They were all online during COVID. 8-week class online. He did not turn in assignments for 4 weeks. This is half of the semester now. 4 weeks, he didn't turn in assignments. The last week of the class, he then emailed me and said, hey, I know I haven't been able to turn in any of the assignments. I haven't done them yet, but I'm planning to do them all this week. The reason I couldn't turn them in is because my family took a trip to Indiana and they didn't have internet there. As if I'm going to believe that the state of Indiana is still living in the 19th century and doesn't have internet. Mind-blowing, okay? And the answer is no. You can't do that. You need to turn in your assignments. Come on, it's college. Plan, organize, grow up. I know people aren't telling you that enough, but please, make sure that you're on top of this, your assignments. That's how we take attendance. Withdrawal. If you wish to drop this class, which right now I'm assuming that 1 or 2 of you are thinking, I'm dropping this class. Anyway, you need to initiate that process by contacting me or submitting the proper paperwork to registration. Unless you initiate the process, I'm going to assume that you're still registered for the class, and then you'll end up receiving a failing grade based on the attendance policy because you're not turning in assignments. So you need to communicate. This is a communication class. It would be helpful if you communicated. That's sarcasm. It's one of my great gifts in life. Okay? By the way, the last day to withdraw from the class and receive a full refund is 2 days from the due date of this assignment, which is August 29th. The last day to withdraw from this class and not receive an F is September 15th. You can't make up late work, assignments, quizzes, or activities. You need to turn it in on time. You are not allowed at any time for any reason to record conversations between students, between instructors and students, or between two instructors. That's a policy that came about around 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now. A student decided it would be fun to record private conversations between an instructor and students, and then put them on the internet. They thought that was really funny. They ended up getting expelled from the Maricopa County Community College system. So, adios, don't do that. It's bad. It's an invasion of privacy. You don't want to do that. Your email policy, you're supposed to communicate with me either through Canvas or through your MEID email that you've been set up with from the community college system. I can initiate withdrawals based on whether or not you've turned in your syllabus acknowledgement assignment. I can initiate a withdrawal at any time for any reason for cause. So I can also do that as well, depending on how you're doing in the class in terms of turning in things on time. I don't even need to inform you or ask your permission to do that, as long as it's policy-based withdrawal. There is a grievance policy. You can complain about it, but if it's happened for cause, then it's happened. Emails from the students from students and to students are only be done through that Maricopa County College email system or on Canvas. Academic integrity and conduct. This paragraph is simply cut and paste from the your welcome book that you got when you first became a student at Paradise Valley Community College. It's a book that's about 40 pages long, and it has all of our policies and different things. It's like our website in a book, and it comes right from that. You're not allowed to cheat. You're not allowed to threaten anybody. You're not allowed to plagiarize. You're not allowed to give an AI speech. You need to do your own work. All of that stuff. It's the normal kind of stuff. You can't beat up anybody in class, which might be hard to do since this is an online class. But nevertheless, you should be warned that you can't do that. Inappropriate behavior, that just reiterates all of what I just said. In addition, every student is expected to know and comply with all of the current published policies of the district and of PVCC in particular, and the policies that are outlined in this syllabus. And there's that statement about student responsibility for syllabus and information contained herein. You now are responsible for this information. Again, you can't come and say, I didn't know. It's not an excuse. It's not going to be accepted. And the reason I pound on that is because it's amazing how many students think that that's a legitimate way to get out of something. It's not. Okay? We value equity, diversity, accessibility, engagement, and inclusion. It's very important. Just want to make sure you understood that. There's our disability statement. I don't think it's going to apply here because we're not on campus, but if you have something that does fall under the Disabilities Act and you need some accommodations, please let me know, and I will make sure that we take care of those accommodations. There's your grievance policy. If you have questions about improvement or need clarification or feedback, please contact the instructor in a timely manner. If you wish to contest a grade or any sort of policy, you need to do it in a timely manner. Again, I have stories. Here's a story. Taught a COM-100 class a number of years ago. 3 years after the class was over, I was contacted by a student that was in that class who said, I got a B in the class, I think I should have gotten an A, and he filed a grievance complaint because he should have gotten an A. I had all of the paperwork and everything that said, no, he only got enough points to get a B. But second of all, the school simply refused to hear it because it was 3 years after the end of the semester. Again, I don't know what he was thinking, but it's fun to have these stories anyway. There's more stuff about Title IX. You see that, by the way, that sentence right above Title IX. The grievance policy for grades must be initiated no later than 60 calendar days from the date the grade was issued. He did it 3 years after it was denied out of hand. So there's more Title IX stuff. Suggestions for exceeding expectations in this class or any other class. Frequently log into Canvas. Read your announcements. I won't put announcements on there every day, maybe not even every week, but if you don't look, you're going to miss an important announcement when I do put it on there. Be aware of your assignment details and due dates. Check for feedback. Read the manual, which is the required textbook. Use the worksheets. Practice your speeches. I'll talk about that in one of the next videos. The importance of practicing your speeches out loud. I cannot overemphasize that. Begin planning your speech early and ask the instructor, that would be me, for timely clarification or assistance on speech assignments. Again, at least 72 hours in advance. Plan to develop multiple drafts of the speeches and ask for feedback. Test the workability of all your presentational aids prior to the due date. Yeah, you're going to have to incorporate presentational aids into a video recording of your speeches on 3 of the 4 speeches. Submit speeches and all assignments on or before the due dates, and then enjoy the learning experience, appreciate the opportunity, and apply what you've learned to situations beyond the class. This is a class that you will have practical application in your life well beyond this class. This is not like learning a calculus formula that you're never going to use again in your class unless you're an engineer. This is stuff you'll actually use in your life no matter what you do. Here's the schedule. Again, there's the caution that it's only 8 weeks in duration. The syllabus acknowledgement is due August 26th. The video acknowledgement, this assignment is due the 27th. Your second video acknowledgement is due August 31st. Your third video assignment acknowledgement is due Friday, September 5th. And your fourth video acknowledgement is due Tuesday, September 9th. These videos aren't that long. They're shorter than the class periods that you go to on campus. And there's only 4 of them. It's not that hard. Your rough drafts, now you have your first rough draft for your autobiographical speech is also due on September 11th. Your first quiz is due September 12th. So you can see, just cascading. Video submission of the autobiographical, Monday, September 15th. Quiz 2, Wednesday, September 17th. Rough draft of informative, September 21st. Video of final informative speech, Friday, September 26th. Self-evaluation paper is due 2 days later, the 28th. Rough draft for your persuasive speech, October 3rd. Final video of the submission of the video for your persuasive speech, October 9th. Rough draft for your tribute speech is the 14th. Final video submission for the tribute speech is October 19th. Final grades will be submitted no later than Monday, October 27th. So it's tight, but I've done this many times on the 8-week schedule, and you can get it done. You just need to make sure that you're organized and planning ahead and communicating with me. Okay, a couple other things. I want to just touch on this. I'll talk about it more in a later video, but Aristotle, the great rhetorician, the great Greek philosopher from the 4th and 5th centuries BC, talked about the 3 key components of being a powerful and effective orator. An orator is a public speaker. And back then, when Aristotle was alive, that was the only, there was no internet, there was no television, none of that stuff. Everybody communicated through public speaking. So Aristotle tells us that you need logos, pathos, and ethos. So briefly, because I cover this in much more detail in a later video, but briefly, logos is you need to appeal to a person's cognitive side of his or her brain, the left brain, the part that thinks and is logical and reasons. So you need logos. You also need pathos. You need to appeal to a person's right brain, their affect, their emotions. That's pathos. And ethos, you need to have credibility. They need to believe you as well. You need all three of these things to be effective at public speaking. The 6-step guide, again, we'll unpack this more, but just to give you a little preview, and please read your textbook on this. Wonderful information in there. The 6-step guide, 1, you need an excite step. 2, you need a launch step. 3, you need a relate step. 4, the body of your speech is known as the main points. That's step number 4. 5, you need a reiterate step. And 6, you need an energize step. Details on all of this are in your textbook, and I'm going to do a video on that. So that's welcome video number 1. Glad you're with us. Looking forward to our semester together. I think that's it. I'll see you on the next video. Adios, my friends and students.